know what to
if
expect.
I'm sitting in that tub and I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm not gonna want to do it.
It is not gonna be like that, girl. You go.
Oh, we're gonna see. We're gonna see. Because I'm not lying. Well, guys, you see, we've already been talking, but I'm here today with
Bryce.
And Jakaya.
How are y'all feeling today?
Great, amazing, blessed.
Yeah, I'm feeling good.
Feeling good?
Feeling good.
Got your wine?
I was gonna say I meant to ask you what's the alcohol percentage of it because I'm like, yeah.
I think it might be like 8 or 9.
Yeah,
Okay. You trying to get his lip for Bible study?
No, that's not the case. See, we had this discussion the other day. And I was asking him, like, is it wrong to have wine at Bible study?
I don't think so.
I still don't have an answer.
I don't have an answer either. I mean, no. The whole bottle? No. I don't know. But definitely not this one.
I feel like you can drink because, like, obviously, like how people say Jesus turned water to wine.
I feel like it's different if you had like a whole glass of whiskey.
Yeah.
If you're trying to get drunk, that's the problem.
Mm.
But that's the sneaky thing about alcohol. You'll take a sip, or like you'll start to feel it a little bit, and it just causes you to want more. Like you want to feel that even more. Like I'm trying to get here, you know. Well, not right now, but like that's how it normally. That's how it is with alcohol.
No, I'm just kidding.
That's how it is with alcohol. Yeah.
I like wine. I like wine a lot.
I love wine.
My sister, she be getting like the Snoop Dogg wine.
I don't really like that one. I'm not a big fan of that one.
Mm.
I don't know. Now I was looking for a jam jar because that's my favorite as of lately. It's a little bit more dry than this one, but it's really sweet and it has like 11%. So like one glass is good.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Me and Maddie, we went and we were drinking wine, and we were like, "Hey, let's try a new one." We tried that one. I said, "Girl, I don't need another." I'm off because whenever I start drinking, my face turns like red. So that's how I know. Like I would get red in my face. I was like, I don't need another glass of wine. And she got another one, and she was like, like no. She's like, that's enough for me. So what is everybody's classification in major?
I'm a junior and I'm a computer science major.
I am a sophomore biology major with a pre-med concentration.
Oh, Lord. Oh, Lord.
Yeah.
So what do you want to do with pre-med?
So, I want to be an anesthesiologist.
Oh.
I'm going to make my long story short. It stemmed from when I was in like second grade. It was career picture day at school. I came home with like this long list of career choices, and I was going over it with my mom. And I told her, I'm like, I want to be a billionaire. And she's like, you have to work to be a billionaire. You can't just wake up and be a billionaire, you know, as we wish, right? But it doesn't work that way, unfortunately. So then we came across anesthesiologist, and then she was like, you should do that. So I took the picture as an anesthesiologist, and then later on in life, I actually researched it and then fell in love with the career choice. And somewhere, like in my mom's closet, there's a picture of like 7-year-old me dressed as an anesthesiologist. I need to find it. Like I really need to find it. But yeah, that's my story.
Did that motivate you? That picture?
It did for a while, but I haven't seen it in a long time. So
I feel like you should put it in your mirror in your room.
Yeah.
Just have the picture right there.
Yeah.
I'm making you happy, girl.
Yeah.
Making you happy.
Yeah, I have to.
Anesthesiologists make a lot of money, but it's one of the most like underrated medical professions. Also, it's like one that doesn't require you to chop people open.
Yeah.
You know,
and
you have to see it because you're gonna be there.
Yeah.
But you're not responsible for somebody like getting cut the wrong way.
Yeah. It actually is surprising because I've heard so many people here and just lately that want to be anesthesiologists. And I don't know if it's like the red card phenomenon, like once you want to do it or once you get it, everybody else starts doing it. But yeah, there's so many people who want to be an anesthesiologist.
I know it's a lot of nurses, but
yeah.
I was doing nursing, but I quickly removed myself. I was like, I'm not doing this.
The classes take you out? That's what it was?
No, it wasn't even the classes. I was doing fine with classes. I love, like, I'm really good at science. Like, I've always been really good at science. It's more so me knowing that I am going to be the person that nobody wants to see. That is what I don't want to deal with.
Really?
Like a lot of people, if you think about it, they don't look for the people look forward to seeing their doctors because they trust them. They're actually doing the service. The nurse is doing all the dirty work.
Yeah.
Like
All the way.
you're coming to give them medicine, you're shooting them up. Like, and I went to do pediatric nursing.
Mm-hmm.
I realized like I'm not gonna be the person that's making that child happy. They're going to be dreading seeing me because they know I'm coming to make them take medicine. I'm waking them up out of bed. I'm getting them up out their sleep. I'm poking them. I didn't. My heart is not there. I was like, we need to find something else to do with kids. It's gonna be better.
Intentional tantrums. Like even when I was a kid, I seen them shots coming. I was.
That's what I'm saying. And I don't want to be that person that I want y'all to be excited to see me. Like when y'all see the doctor. Once I was like, and the girl that used to do my nails, that went here, she just graduated as a nurse like last year, and when she would do my nails, she would be telling me, and I'm like, don't want to do that. I was like, let's go and find something else. What did you want to do with your computer science major?
Right now, so I've always wanted to be a software engineer, but actually, I'm gonna backtrack even farther. I used to want to be a surgeon, and I seen 12 years of school, and I said no, and then I was like,
hey, I'm not mad at you.
And then that's when I switched to tech, and I seen computer science, and I wanted to be a software engineer, but now I think I'm going more towards cybersecurity because I think that's my passion. Like I've grown up and I've always been a gamer. Like Xbox, the Wii. I've always seen how to jailbreak my phone, jailbreak my games, and I've always been like, And I ain't gonna
Wait a
lie,
minute.
like,
Wait a minute.
it started. I ain't gonna lie, it started like it started back.
Let me. We'll talk later. We'll talk later about this.
It started back in high school. It's gonna sound it's messed up, but like it started back in high school when I first started learning how to get like IP addresses, and then I started learning like how to like hack my friends' games and getting into it and stuff. Like yeah, bro, like I was that dude. Like people would pay me be like who's this dude or like, and then even like in college I grew up playing Call of Duty, so like doing the mods and it was this game called Black Ops 3. They had this gun called the broccoli, something like that. You know the shotgun I'm talking about, the automatic? I was the kid running around with making it a full auto shotgun, bro. Yes, bro. That was me. And then now, like, I want to do software engineering.
So, does that require you to just be hacking people? Cause
I mean, yeah, not software engineering.
let me not make you let me not make you mad because I do not need you hacking my computer.
But it was like software engineering is more on like I want to say protect. Yeah, I'll say in like protecting side, but now I think I'm switch over to cybersecurity, something inside of there, because now I'm starting to see like I'm liking my classes, but I'm like, I really want to hack. Like I want to hack into something. I want to do stuff like that. I really, that's always been my passion.
It sounds so bad, but I
But
get what you're
ethically
saying.
hacking though,
I just learned that's a thing.
And it's if you actually listen to it yourself, it's this thing called Darknet Diaries, and it's like basically teaches you how to hack and do all that stuff, and it's like
my God.
ethical. Yeah, like you can definitely listen to it and you hear it, but like that's always been my passion growing up.
I'm going there and I'm not getting on my phone ever again. I'm like this. I'm about to change my passwords today, now. So does that have to do with like helping people as far as like when they do get hacked, or like
so
if there's something like secretly going on, you'll be able to get into it and figure out exactly who did what and what.
So it's a variety of different sides. So like one side is that a company will allow you to I can't think of it's like this competition. I can't think of the name of it, but a company will allow you to hack into their company. Basically, like they'll give you permission to do it just to see how they can better their security. And it's like I can get paid just for doing that, just to show you how to fix your security. Like that sounds amazing to me.
Basically showing them how easy it is for people to hack into their stuff.
Yeah. Like it's this thing called.
We need to get with him. We need to get with him so nobody hacks Love Haven. We need to get with him so nobody hacks Love Haven. We need to see how well you're doing over there. We're not getting us hacked.
But yeah, it's like a different varieties. Like I was saying, like with the companies, they'll pay you to keep them secure, or just the simple companies where you make sure nobody's getting into like stealing no bank information or doing stuff like that. Yeah.
Because we got a lot of scammers around here, and I'm not trying to get scammed. All right, so we have the vice president of NIST, we have the president of Poetic Souls, we have a future LU ambassador, we have the dean's. Is it dean's list or president's list?
President's
list, dean list. My goodness, how do y'all manage all the success in college? but still also make time for one another as well.
It's a great question.
That is a good question. I feel like you prioritize the things that you care about in your life.
Mm-hmm.
I can speak for me. Bryce has been doing his thing since we first got to college, right? So he may be a little bit more used to the balance.
Mm-hmm.
But all of these new titles have just kind of been sprung upon me this semester and going into the next semester. So yeah, that'll be
That's so
different.
good.
Yeah, but I think, like I said, just learning that you have to prioritize the things that you care about. You have to want to make time for each other. Sometimes, let's say Saturday. Saturday is our dedicated date day. It doesn't matter what else we have going on, like whatever organization, business we have going on. Saturday is dedicated to us, like regardless. And I can say now that we both gotten really, really busy, it went from Saturday to whatever day that we don't actually have anything going on. We're just gonna dedicate that day to us whenever we have time. Whether that's a date being from 12 o'clock until 2 o'clock, whenever I have my next class. Whenever you have the time for each other, uh, you gotta squeeze that time in. And then you also ask, how do I balance? Girl, I'm still trying. I'm juggling. Like it's like a juggle for me. I'm trying to relearn balance, especially picking up faith space. I'm
Mm-hmm.
also trying to learn how to really invest um, a lot of time into that as well, because that is something that God has put on me specifically. All these things are God given, of course, but that's something that He's given to me directly. So I think just trying to really invest my time into that, trying to give 100% everywhere that I'm involved in. I'm trying to figure that out. I'm still trying to figure it out, honestly, like, because trying to be somebody for everybody is hard.
It could be tiring.
Yeah, it is hard. Sometimes it can be overwhelming, but I think also using the people who, not using them, but they're there to help you. So taking advantage of the people you have around you that are there to help you.
Using your resources.
Yes.
How about for you?
So with the relationship part, I feel like Jakai said it all. Like I can say with both of us, like I genuinely prioritize my relationship with Jakaya over most of, if not anything here. Like that's my number one thing on my checklist. Like making sure she's okay, making sure like she's good mentally, because I pour myself into her and she pours herself into me. Like we can't lose with that, and I say that's the biggest thing with that. Like how we make time for ourselves. Like how she said, we just prioritize it, and it's not even just the dates, but it's like doing the little things for each other, like making up each other's bedroom, like making up each other's beds, or cleaning each other's room, or writing each other a note, or doing anything. Like yeah, like genuinely being there for each other. And my biggest thing, especially with our relationship, realizing love is an action word, not just like words, not just words saying it, but it's like
And
acting
both of
out
y'all
that
say
love.
that a lot. What does that mean to both of you as well? Because both of y'all say that a lot.
Because okay, I can say with me personally with that, I've personally
Sorry,
grown up.
guys.
No, you good. I've grown up in a household where love can just be a word, or like they'll be like, "Yeah, I love you so much. Da 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 da. I do all this for you. I do this for you. I do this for you." I'm like, so you're listing accomplishments. It's like it's not you saying that's not love. If you just doing stuff and then checking it in the back of your mind.
Right.
And I can say the biggest transition for me within our relationship is Jakaya even telling me and like showing me like how good it is for someone to actually love you. And for love being an action word to me, it's me being actually paying attention to the little things she likes, actually helping her, like seeing if she's having a bad day. I'm like, hey, what's going on? Or like actually listening to her. And that's the biggest thing. Like genuinely listening is the biggest thing when it comes to love is an action word. Because like you're listening and then acting out the things you're intaking. Yeah.
For me, similar to what Bryce said, there. Sorry, excuse me, y'all. The common phrase is just telling people I love you, and I feel like saying that alone, sometimes you can say it so much that it just becomes something that you say, like hey or bye. Like you're so used to saying it that you just say it. Um, but one big thing that I said to Bryce and it kind of threw him off one day is I like you. And he was like, what? Like he had just said I love you. And I'm like, I like you because you can love someone or you can say you love someone. You can say, oh, I don't want you to die, of course. I
Right.
love you. I don't want to see you, out on the streets or anything. I love you that much. So it's a difference when you actually like that person. It's a difference when you are loving that person for who they are and everything that comes with them. I had to catch myself a lot of the time at the beginning of our relationship because honestly, I've never been in a relationship this long. I've never really been in a relationship if I'm being honest. But I haven't been in one this long and this mature, like this just constantly, every day or consistent relationship. So at the beginning of a relationship, I noticed that when little things would happen that I wouldn't like, I would always kind of nag. Be like, oh, you do this. Oh, you do this. Oh, you've done this. Oh, you didn't do this the way I liked it. And then I realized that if you continue to nag like that, at one point your voice is going to just sound like, or every time that you come to me, you're not even going to be comfortable anymore because you know there's going to be something that I have to say. You know there's going to be something that I didn't do. So I also had to check myself because okay, let's just use this for an example. Say Bryce left his shoes in the middle of the floor, right? And I got aggravated because he left his shoes in the middle of the floor. But let's also say that I left my makeup all over my desk. Bryce would just silently clean it up. He wouldn't, say anything. And then I had to check myself. I'm like, wow,
That's so
like
sweet.
yeah, like I do the same thing, but I get mad when you do it. So I had to also realize the root of it, where it was coming from, not being able to really experience love or see that type of love in my life. So then I was like, okay, check myself. I feel like um that, and also it's the little things that count. Uh it's actually acting on what you say. It's not about materialistic things. It's not about how much we can buy each other. I'm a gift giver, so I'm gonna buy you things. But it's not about what I can do, for you. It's really um what we can do for each other. Mentally, emotionally, spiritually, what we can do for each other. How can we help each other grow? I've been seeing our relationship now as more of a partnership than anything because we're going through this world together. We're going through these struggles together. So how can I make this better for you? Like, you good?
Is this gonna mess up anything?
You got some more cable.
Huh?
You can keep pulling. You got more cable.
Oh, sorry guys.
You're
Hey, y'all
good.
good?
You're
Okay,
good.
go ahead. Continue.
No, that was it. Just like Bryce said, uh, you have to pour into each other. It can't just be one person constantly pouring into the other person and they're not receiving anything as well. And one thing that I have learned also recently, because in this relationship, I'm constantly learning how I can be better for Bryce. And praying for each other like heavily. Of course, I pray for all the people I love and care about. But like I said, I see this as a partnership. So, you never know who's praying against you or preying on you, right? So, you have to be that person for your partner. You have to be uh helping them spiritually. Like you have to pray for that hedge of protection over them as well because like I said, you never know who's praying against them. And sometimes it's hard for us to pray for ourselves or to know exactly what we need because in prayer it's not always just about us. We can also pray about other people as well. So it's kind of hard to just not even know, but just to know exactly what you should be praying for. So I think continuing to pray for that protection over one another, spiritually, emotionally, mentally, physically, praying for that protection. Yeah.
I like how you both said it's a partnership. It's not just a relationship, it's a partnership. Y'all are partners. I like that. So, when did you guys start dating, and how did you guys know that this was not just a regular college relationship? Because there's two different sides of things. Y'all are in like, well, I guess like what tell Mike his relationship is, to me it's like a marriage. It's like that's what I call, because that's what it looks like to me from an outsider. It's not a relationship. A relationship is just like, a college relationship is just like, y'all do little stuff, but y'all are exceeding like just hanging out and going to the movies and going to events together. Y'all are actually growing together. So that's why I call it a marriage, because it's like y'all are not married yet, but y'all are getting there. Y'all are building towards that. I can tell.
Intentionally dating.
That's funny.
So, when did you realize it was not just a college relationship, and when did y'all start dating?
Okay, we started dating. I knew you were gonna ask this question. It's we don't have, like, you know what a meet cute is?
No.
Basically, like
The date.
Yeah, the first day y'all see each other, like the love at first sight story. Anywho, we were friends at first for about a week. Then we moved past the friendship stage, and Bryce and I were having this conversation. Bryce had just got out of a relationship. I was in my, like, I'm not talking to anybody. I'm focusing on my relationship with God. That's it. I'm not worried about anybody else, right? Boom. He comes in my room. But like I said, we were all friends. So we were just kicking it as friends. And then I was giving him some advice on the situation that he had going on. And then he was just explaining about how he just wanted somebody to chill with. Like, do homework with and study with. And then, you know how college goes. We ended up in a room together. But we didn't do anything. We were talking for like hours. Long time. We stayed up until like 4 a.m. just talking. And then at the end of that conversation, he was like, you know how I said I wanted somebody to chill with? I want that person to be you. And then I was like, well, if you're talking to me, you're not going to be talking to anybody else. And then, that's how we got together. If I'm being honest, like, we really didn't know each other that much before getting together, which is, when I still think about it now, it's like crazy. We got into a relationship before we actually even just got to know each other for real. Of course, I like knew him, but I didn't even know him. I didn't know where he came from. I didn't know any of that, right? So, anyways, when did I know that this relationship was for us? Because we prayed about it. My past relationships, in those relationships, I would go downhill. Like, they would be bringing me down, whether it was my grades, picking up bad habits, whatever I was doing, it happened when I was in those relationships. And this was one of the first relationships that I've had that we actually went up. Like, Bryce, and it sounds weird, corny for me to say this, but he be motivating me, like, to do better, to want to be better academically, spiritually, physically, because he be in the gym. I don't even go to the gym, but he motivates me to do better in that way. So I think every day is a constant reminder of why I'm in the relationship. Yeah.
I actually want to pick up a little bit, like, and it's just one thing. I don't want to go into detail, because but it was just one night, and being open and honest, we were like stupid high. This is before we were like,
it's okay.
Yeah,
it's
this
is
before, I ain't gonna lie. Well, we were like stupid. Like, we smoked before. We
Don't
had
be
an edible.
I already told you.
I just be honest. Like, we didn't we smoked before. We had an edible after we smoked. And man, this how you know it was like, this how I know we both know God put us in this relationship for a reason. So I've been wanting to do something my whole life, and then she just basically just kept it real with me. Like, man, like, that night we had the realest conversation I ever had with somebody I ever had a day in my life. And it was crazy because it was like such a God ordained conversation, but we were high out of our minds. And I'm like this is the like girl for me. Like she's sitting there keeping it real. Like I've never had nobody tell me something. And she even came at like before the conversation. She was like, I understand if you don't want to be with me no more, but I just can't let you. Like I just got to tell you this. And it's like something even my parents still disagree with to this day. Like, and I'm just like, that blew my mind. That's like that's one of I can say that's a milestone right there on how I know we're supposed to be in this relationship. And uh if one of us starts slacking in the word or like are us like spiritually with God,
Yeah.
the other, and it's so crazy, like the other one is like at an incline,
Yeah.
and we'll see it and we'll be like, oh shoot, I need to get back on my stuff.
It's
Yeah.
motivating.
Yeah, like
That's really good.
it's like it's not a time where we're like both down.
Down. Yeah. And actually, I wanted to bring that up. It's not that I was even spiritually down, but I wasn't in my word. And Bryce was already hosting his Bible studies a long time before I hosted Faith Based for the first time. Well, before we publicly announced it, because we were doing our own Bible studies in our room, but following through with, you know, what God had in store. There was this one time, I want to say maybe the week before or 2 weeks before I started Faith Based. I went to one of Bryce's men's Bible study. He was like, I was just going to his room, you know, spend the night, and I was going to his room, spend the night, and I was supposed to be doing my homework. I'm like, I'm not going to intrude because it is a men's Bible study, so I want it to be just the men, right? It's normally this safe space. I wanted to stay that way, but he was insisting. He was like, no, I think you should really come. It was great. First of all, it was a great Bible study, and then the week after that, I started Faith Based, and then the next week, that's when I publicly announced it that I was going forward with Faith Based, because I had like a smaller one that I had just announced when I was at one of these events, and then I was just like, yeah, I'm gonna host a Bible study in my room tonight, and then I did have a couple people come. So we had that first Bible study, and then the next week, that's when I publicly announced that I was doing Faith Based. So, yeah, that's just another one of the ways that it's like confirmation that we are supposed to be together.
Wait, one thing. Shout out to you, love. Something to forget, and you always
Oh,
been
yeah.
extra supportive. I'm
Oh,
like,
yeah.
what?
Because I like
Oh,
it so
yeah,
much.
like, what?
When I like when I enjoy something and I like, it's just like what I said to y'all earlier before we started. Whenever I see people being their authentic version of themselves, it makes you just like, it makes me really happy. I like seeing people thriving in what they're supposed to be thriving in and being the best versions of themselves. And it's like, if nobody's gonna support you, I'm gonna support you. I'm gonna be the number one supporter, because it's like, somebody needs to tell y'all are doing a good job. Like that goes for anything that I see people doing. Like, I just love seeing people operating in what they're supposed to be doing, and they're doing their own. They're in their own world, in their own bubble, doing what they're supposed to be doing. Like, I am just like, I'm here for it. I'm here for it, and I also enjoy coming. Like, I enjoy coming to that space. Like I was saying, even with like with Mark and his Militopia, like, I love Militopia. I will support Militopia 1,000% because I see him operating in his authentic version of himself. Like, I will support 1,000% because you're being yourself and you're thriving in what you need to be thriving in. You're putting out there your best craft. Like, I love it. Even when people are doing hair. They're doing hair and they're doing their own thing, doing a great job. I'm supporting you because that's what you want to do. You're doing your best version of that. Like, I don't know.
I love that.
I feel like that's how everybody should be with people's stuff. Well,
Yeah.
not when they're copying off. Not when they're. I'm not gonna support something where I see somebody just copying off another person. No, I'm not doing that because you're not being authentic. I'm not supporting that. But whenever you're doing it on your own,
I love that. I love that.
and I try not to support everything. I really do, because like being exclusive, what I do put out there and what I support, just because. What's the word for it? I don't want to sound cocky. But I know the type of person I am. I know the type of brand I am. It's more so, okay, if love is supporting something like this, I know her personality. I know the type of person she is. Why am I not involved in this?
Yeah.
That type of mindset.
Yeah.
Like, you need to be here. You need to be.
Yeah.
Need to get yourself up and come over here. You need to be supporting this. This is something that's like good. It's free from any of that other crazy stuff. This is like
your credibility, like you really built that up really great.
I try to. I really do. Like, I'm not saying like I'm perfect or anything like that. I'm not like the end all be all. Yep, this is good. This is not good. No, but things that I'm constantly supporting and I'm putting out there, it's good. It's good. It's good for the people. So, what is one thing that you both value in the relationship?
Mm.
We know God. Outside of God, what is something y'all both value in the relationship?
I'll start. Uh, the little things. I really appreciate them. Like, Bryce being my number one supporter, first of all. Secondly, like he said earlier, like if he knows I'm having a bad day, or even if I'm just out the house, he'll clean up my room. He'll wash and fold my clothes for me, like just so it's something that just to make my life easier. Like the little things that he does to make it easier for me, things that I no longer have to worry about that were on my shoulder that I can, like, whew, that's taken care of. Like last week, for example, we alternate who uploads, well, not uploads, but updates the slides for our co-ed Bible study.
Mm-hmm.
And I went to go check it because I was going to go do it, and I was having a busy week, and Bryce was having a busy week as well. It was already done. I kept looking. I'm like, is this the same one from last week? And I'm like, no, it's not. So I called him. I'm like, you did that? He was like, yeah, I just wanted to take that, off your plate because I didn't want it to be something that you were worrying about. So yeah, for me, it's the little things.
Yeah.
That's so sweet.
I want to say just the little things, just the realness. Like, I genuinely mean, like, I've never had nobody as real as Jakai in my life. Like, she'll, like, and it's crazy. Like, how you even said at the beginning of our relationship, there's so many times where I've, like, known, like, this is for me. Like, she'll, like, freshman year, for example, like, she'll know, or she'll just tell me, like, keep it real, be like, you don't need to be hanging out with them, or this, and that. And she's not just going to come to me and tell me that, but she'll break it down. Like, she's like, I pay attention to stuff. Like, is this side a reality that I've never seen? And I feel like that's one of the things where, like, opposites attract.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's, like, that realness in her, I've, like, genuinely never had before. And it's, like, so many times where she's actually genuinely helped me in my life. Like, man, like, spiritually, mentally, emotionally. Like, man, like, it's so much stuff. And it's just, like, her. You feel me? Like, it's just her. You feel me? And humbly, by the grace of God, I never really dated nobody that was smarter than me before. Like, never. And I've, like, not calling nobody I talked to before, like, dumb, but, like, I've genuinely always just been smart.
She's really smart.
Yeah. And
It's
that's
a
like,
challenge.
yeah. I wouldn't even say challenge. It's just, like,
It's a
some,
challenge.
it's
a challenge. It's a challenge.
it's like, but
She's
I feel
smart.
like
Yeah.
she's there with me. If any, like, also, like, she's there with me. Like, I'll never forget freshman year, like, she was able to help me with my pre-cal class, and I'm helping her with the pre-cal, like, pre-cal 1, I'm helping her with pre-cal 2. It's like, man, like, what the heck? Like, this stuff is just so crazy. The best thing I can just say is just her. Like, that's the best way I can just say it. It's just her. I really, really do appreciate all of that. Like, man.
I wanted to give a disclaimer for the people watching. When I was telling him those things, it was out of discernment, and I was never controlling. So I don't want them to think that I was telling him to cut people off, because ultimately it still is your decision if you want to continue to hang around those people or not. But just opening your eyes to the things that are actually going on.
Yeah,
That's it.
Yeah, picking up what she was saying, like, for my freshman year, like, I don't want to put myself out there like that, but, like, I was doing something real dumb that wasn't part of me. Like, I left her room, came back. She was like, what? Like, you can look out her window and see all the chaos outside, and she's like, what is wrong with you? And it's just, like, that stuff, it just be crazy. And, like, it's so funny because, like, she'll say something. I'll never forget this. One time she said something about somebody, and I just let it play out. And literally the next day, we never started talking again. We stopped talking because I seen the true side of themselves. It's just so crazy, man. Like, I don't know how. It's just crazy. Like, I don't know. For real.
But she knew.
Yeah.
She knew.
And it's like, I don't want to say too much on here, but, like, I'm still keeping it vulnerable and open, but, like, yeah. You feel me?
There's some things you want to keep for yourself, and
Yeah.
that's perfectly fine. I'm not mad at that. So, what are both of y'all thoughts on the dating stigma in college? Because y'all have a thriving relationship in college, but a lot of relationships in college is hookup culture. So, what are your thoughts on that?
It's so funny. We watching Growness right now,
Yeah.
and I be thinking, I'm
The
like,
adult
bro,
one?
Yeah.
when she's in college.
Yes.
That one
I'm
is
like
good.
relationships.
That one, but I like that show because it's really relatable to how college
Yeah.
actually
Real.
is. It
And
really
it,
is.
and it, I'm not gonna say it on camera because I don't want anything to transpire after. I'm gonna tell you after. Remind me that I had something to say.
Okay.
But I didn't know that it was like a what is it, a spinoff from Blackish. I didn't even know that
Girl, what?
until yesterday. Actually, I was like, oh my
You know
gosh.
they have another one too. It's like Mixed Dish or something like that.
Oh
With
They just-
Rainbow when she was a kid.
They just throwing
wow!
stuff. That's
I'm gonna
crazy.
have to go and watch
But,
Blackish.
that's
after.
crazy.
But to talk about the stigma of these relationships, I feel like it has a lot to do with individuality, because who you are outside of your relationship, outside of your friendships, it matters in those relationships. It's really gonna show. You have to be with someone who puts God first, of course. Um, not saying that you have to find someone that is perfect, because Bryce is not perfect. I am not perfect, but we do work, hard to build that up to get to the point, not even to a stopping point, because we're gonna have to continue to grow, but we do want to continue to grow. We want to continue to be better for each other. I feel like relationships now are surrounded around sex.
Mm.
That's the first thing, and if not sex, then lust. You have to look good to be in a relationship with somebody, or you have to have this certain characteristic to be in a relationship with somebody. And that's why I do have to catch myself and remind myself all the time, like even on grownish, I've experienced, not really experienced it, what she was going through in the show, but it's not something, like you said, it's relatable.
Mm-hmm.
It is relatable, but not to me. I've seen it happen to other people, but when you have those influences, you see it on TV, you're watching it on social media, it can kind of want you to search for that kind of stuff. Like when you see it even in your household, it's not even on social media, because your household is really the first influence for your relationships. So where you're not used to seeing that kind of stuff, it does make it a bit harder for you to want it. Because I can use me for example. I didn't see a 2-parent household, so I didn't know. I knew I wanted it for myself, but I didn't know exactly how that looked. I didn't know what I needed to do to get to that point. I didn't even know how people made relationships work. I was just going with the flow because I know it's something that I wanted for myself. Which is why I say individuality. How these people are outside of their relationships. You can't let your relationship determine your identity. You can't let it determine who you are. You can't, like I said, it is a partnership right now. Well, even when we are married. But it will shift a bit more when we're married, because right now it's individual, but when we're married we become one. So we still have our own identities outside of it, of course, but a lot of the things that we do, they are together. I mean, we married. I can't wait to be like, oh, my husband, let me call my husband first. Let me call my husband before I make this decision. But I think a lot of people now, they're doing married things without the marriage.
The title.
Yeah, without the ring. First, like I said, sex being one of them, and I was one of those people. Like that's one of those things that's saved for marriage, that's sacred for marriage. Sex, having the guy lead them, and not saying that Bryce and I right now are in a point where we are kind of, like I said, it's a partnership, but it's a bit more immature, to like underdeveloped. We're not at the state right now of marriage. Right now we're in a relationship. It's the two of us, so it's not a husband and wife thing yet. We're not there yet. So you have to act as such. There are certain things that you are supposed to keep for your husband, or you are supposed to keep for your wife. There are certain traits that you're supposed to have, as a wife or as a husband, that people now are like they're just giving it to anybody.
Right.
And I feel like that's what causes the whole stereotype of, you know, now, oh, I forgot about music being one too, but people don't even care about relationships anymore because they're looking for those things. A man, it's your boyfriend. Well, a wife, first of all. Well, not a wife, a girlfriend. Sometimes they're not even in a relationship, but a woman will be looking for a man to provide for her like a 1,000%. He's paying all her bills, he's paying for all her shopping, and in return, the man is like, okay, well, what are you bringing to the table?
Right.
That's where the whole question,
Mhm.
that's the whole big thing on social media right now, like the whole 50-50 debate. If you're not in a marriage, I don't even understand why that's really that much of a conversation,
Mhm.
because it shouldn't matter right now. We're just partners. Like, we're in a relationship, of course, but like you said, when you were dating with intent, you're dating to marriage. Before that, y'all are together, right?
Right.
You're not obligated. Let me make that clear. You're not obligated to do anything that you do. Anything that I do for Bryce out the kindness of my heart. Anything that Bryce does for me is out the kindness of his heart. He's not obligated to take care of me. He's
Mhm.
not obligated to do the things that he does for me. Still,
Mhm.
we do those things for each other, but it's not an obligation. But like when you're married, you do have your roles, you do have your responsibilities, and that is determined by your specific relationship. But and it's different for everybody. But like I said, I feel like now it's a lot of obligation. You're obligated to have sex with me. You're obligated to take me on shopping sprees. You're obligated to take me out of the country for my birthday. Like, I'm not obligated to do any of
Mhm.
these things
Mhm.
because we're not married to each other.
Right. Right.
So yeah, I kind of went on a tangent there,
No,
but
but even then, like in marriage, that's like, yeah.
And take
yeah,
out like the
Yeah.
specialness of marriage. Like it takes
Mhm.
out, like then let's say that happens and then y'all get married, y'all can be looking like,
what
okay,
y'all gonna do differently?
what's so
Yeah,
special now? Like it's no
yeah.
difference.
The whole like there are a few things, like I said, sex is one of them. Obviously, I know, I've been there. Living together, that's another thing that I believe is sacred for marriage. I don't think we should live together, one, because I mean it we go have sex because we're in the same house, we're sleeping in the same bed, um but for two, because it's obligation. Who's gonna go half on, or how we gonna pay for the rent? Who's gonna pay for the rent?
Mhm.
Who's gonna be buying the groceries? Who's gonna be doing the cooking, the cleaning? What's gonna be different when you get married and you actually do move? Of course, I would hope that you're going
There's
up
nothing
and
special about the marriage anymore.
yeah, there's nothing special about it. Like, what are you saving for marriage in your relationship other than kids, maybe? But yeah,
Even then, people already having kids
somebody are
now.
having yeah.
Nothing against that, but it's like I understand you're taking away from the value of actually being married and the things that are supposed to go on in a marriage, the things that you figure out while being married.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So how does one find themselves with being with another person?
Mm, that's a great question. That's um that's a great question. And I feel like it's gonna sound kind of messed up, but it's the truth. Like how Jakai said, don't let the relationship be who you are. It's like so many people that's out, like not to be targeting, but like girls, they be like my man, my man, my man, my man. Even while they out, like they out, they cuddled up around each other. They can't talk to nobody without that person. Like realizing you're an individual outside of your relationship,
Mm.
and I feel like that's the biggest thing. Cause I believe that you don't have to truly like you don't have to know yourself. You don't have to know what you want to do. You have to know all that fully before you get into a relationship.
Mhm.
But you have to just know how to operate by yourself.
Mm.
Like a lot of people always have like that. I want to say the present state, but that state where they're alone in their life, and that's so important because that's when you really start to develop.
Mm.
Like you really start to change, really start to see, okay, I like doing this, and I can say this is something I'm growing in myself because like realizing what I like to do, and me doing stuff I like to do will me doing the stuff I like to do will help Jakaya like I want to say expand in a sense, but like help her love me more because she'll be able to surprise me with stuff I like to do,
Mm.
and then I'm able to surprise her with stuff she likes to do, and it just helps it like expand and grow a lot more because if you just like I was saying earlier, if you just caught up within your relationship and only seeing that, you're gonna eventually get tired of each other, and like where does that like in like that individualness goes when y'all break up? Because now you're just stuck to that person. You're just like, okay, I'm used to just doing this. I'm just used to doing that. I'm just doing that. And I can say that with my past relationship, like we were just so stuck with just doing stuff with each other. We're just so stuck in each other that when we broke up,
You
I
have no
can
identity.
yeah, like I kid you not, like Jacob was saying it earlier, like I came into a week into college. I broke up with the last girl I was talking to because I'm like what am I supposed to do now? Like I'm just sitting here, like oh, like I actually can breathe now, like for real. You feel what I'm like? Yeah,
I think,
Not I actually can breathe now.
yeah.
I'm so sorry.
That's how it was. Like I could,
Like,
I was
whoa.
like, yeah,
yeah,
I had to lose some space.
I was gonna say at the beginning of Bryce and my relationship, it was like that for me. I couldn't do anything if Bryce wasn't there. I did not want him to leave at all. There was this one time. That's when I really realized that things had to change. He had went on a trip for Nesby. I think it was FRC or
Mm.
Nationals, and the next morning I woke up and I was crying so bad. I was just like, Bryce is not here. Like, how am I supposed to do, the things that I'm meant to do? And then, yeah, from there on out, I was just like, okay, that has to change because
What happens
that's
if
bad.
y'all were, forbid it happening, but what happens if y'all break up? You're going to be a hot mess.
Mm.
Exactly. Yeah.
Man, you said it was in my head. Like, oh, me and Jakai was having this conversation the other day too, which is crazy. Like, because that takes you having your own life brings excitement into the relationship.
Mm-hmm.
Like y'all having your own things. If y'all together all day and y'all don't have nothing by yourself, what are y'all gonna talk about?
What y'all gonna talk about when y'all get back together?
Yeah, like that is genuinely so exciting. Like how you introduced Jakaya, like she can come back and tell me all this stuff about how she excited. It's like, don't get me wrong, I'm there, I'm supporting fully, but she has poetic souls within herself. Like that's her organization, that's fully her.
Mm-hmm.
And even with me and like Nesby, or even in me with what's something else? Oh, like with Man Up, like that's my organization, that's me. I can come back and I can tell her that, and even like it's so that just brings so much excitement within a relationship. It really does.
That, and like I said, the reason we were talking about it is because, like I said, we are in a relationship. So Bryce motivates me, and with that, I feel like a lot of things that happen that we are successful in. Of course, if your partner is motivated, they're gonna want to, have that same drive or want to do the same thing, kind of, but not really. So I think, yeah, we had to have that conversation because it was just like you have to realize, why do you actually want to do this?
Mm-hmm.
Is this something that you want to do just because your partner is doing it, or is this something that you are actually passionate about?
Mm.
So yeah, just having that individuality, like Bryce said, I don't feel like you have to really know who you are before a relationship, but I do feel like you have to be mature enough to want to learn or want to grow in that way. You have to be ready and open to accept what all comes with that. And some people, I mean, of course, you also have to love yourself before getting into a relationship as well. But sometimes being in a good relationship, can teach you how to love yourself because their love wants to make you wants to make you love yourself more. It wants you to do more for yourself. And this is not the case for all relationships, of course. But I do know, speaking from my own personal standpoint, like Bryce, for the whole freshman year, he would like dress up to go to class every day. I'm a sweatpants girly. I'm still a sweatpants girly now. Don't get me wrong, right? I still love my chill fits, but it made me want to present myself better. Like on certain days, okay, girl, like you don't have class until 12. There's no reason that you shouldn't just be at least trying, putting forth that effort to put yourself together, doing your makeup or hair or doing something with yourself. Like, don't walk around like you love yourself.
Okay.
What would you do, right? So, yeah, that's it.
Okay. So, every relationship has rough patches. How did you guys navigate through the rough patches?
I can start. I How many rough patches we had? I don't feel like.
Nah, I was at the because I was thinking about that earlier. Okay, I want to start.
Oh,
with
like
this
okay,
one.
go ahead,
Yeah.
go ahead.
When I mean understand, because like it's me and Jakai relationship. It's not. I wouldn't even say it was rough patches, but it's the people you think you can let inside your relationship that mess it up,
Mm.
and it's the
Ooh.
biggest thing I can say. That's like life that has changed my life, even outside of our relationship, is understanding and actually like listening to somebody.
Mm-hmm.
Like, wait, ask the question one more time to make sure I hit it. Like, hit the nail on the head to make sure.
I said, every relationship has rough patches. How did you guys navigate through rough patches?
Yeah, like when I mean listening, like I'll never forget this. This struck me in my heart so bad. Like one thing I can say two examples. One thing is the sex thing. Me and Jakaya, like we've been 2 weeks strong with like without having sex, and then we and before that time we did have sex. Like yeah, I was feeling bad, but then seeing her actually breaking down, crying, that like hurt me inside.
Mm.
That genuinely made me like never want to have sex with her again until we got married.
Mm.
That like genuinely made me like that hurt me inside and made me want to throw up. And in this one time, I'll never forget this. We were sitting in the car, and it's like a movie type thing. Like we were sitting in the car, it's raining outside, and we're having like one of those conversations, like a tough conversations about something that happened in the past that was never happened. But she was just like talking, and then she was just like you don't have to always apologize for the things that happen. Just listen.
Mm.
And then what I mean from then on, I've been trying my God knows, like I prayed on this so hard. Like that stuff hit me in my heart. Like I prayed on this so hard to actually want to listen. Actually want to understand her. Because like if you're not actually want to listen to somebody or like actually just want to like cuz we all heard the you got to go through the rough part of the relationship, go get through the rough patch, but like it doesn't always have to be rough. I don't even see it
Right.
as a rough patch. I just see it as like a understanding, like a listening
Just
factor. Yeah,
communication.
it's
Yeah.
just life. And then being able to
That season needs a little bit more tending to.
yeah.
Yeah, and I couldn't say that. That's why I was saying like, how many rough patches have we had? Don't get me wrong, we've had disagreements,
Mm-hmm.
but by the grace of God, of course, I wouldn't call anything that we've been through a rough patch. I feel like I said, you have to go into your relationships intentionally. Also, during those disagreements, I wanted to pick up on what you said. Not letting anybody know my business, what was going on, until maybe after, if you choose to sell it after the situation is already done. But even still, I don't open my mouth about anything unless, don't get me wrong, if you're in one of those relationships that you're being manipulated or,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, you need to talk to somebody because maybe they see something that you don't. But
Right.
these are just over little small things, because when you allow people to, when you tell your people anything about yourself, anything about what you have going on, it leaves it open for their opinions.
Mm-hmm.
And everyone has an opinion. So in that situation, all it takes is somebody to, agree with what you're saying or hype you up even more, and it's just gonna make the relationship even worse. But at the end of the day, because we chose to be together, we also, that one of the choices that we've made is to communicate with each other openly and honestly. So what is it that you can go and tell that other person that you can't tell me, that you
Right.
can't come to me and talk to
Right.
me about? So I think that's one of the biggest things, like just actually communicating with each other. And sometimes that might not be right there on the spot. I know at least it's not that for me. That was another thing that we had to learn about each other. Bryce likes to talk about things right then and there. But I need a moment. I need a few moments actually. I might, it's going to take me a minute because I have to internalize what actually just happened. I have to think about what actually just happened and prepare my thoughts for what I want to say. That, and things happen out of anger. You say things out of anger, and I wouldn't want to do that in my relationship. So yeah, just actually talking to each other about what is going on. What's the real problem?
That's one thing that I think is very important. Is privacy. That's one thing that just like when I was in a relationship for a long time like that, I was really big on. And it was crazy because a lot of people didn't know that I had removed myself from the relationship because I was so private about it. And they were like, "Oh, what's wrong? What happened? Did everything what happened?" I'm like, "Well, some you disagree on some things and you have to just separate. There's no
Yeah.
love lost for that person, but we just disagree, and it's not gonna be that. We can still be friends and kick it. But that was one thing that, like, for me, that I'm just really, really, that I was really, really, really strong on, is just privacy in my relationship, because a relationship is between you and the other person.
Yeah.
It's not between everybody else.
Everybody
And
else.
what you
Yeah.
said as well, the moment you go and confide in someone else, even it could be your best friend, that can influence the way that you think about that
For real.
person.
About it. Yeah.
It'd be like the people. I mean that when I mean like the people closest to you, cause like
Yeah.
like
They
genuinely.
love you too, though.
Yeah,
They
and
love you and they want to see you better. They wouldn't want you to be going through something.
Mhm.
But of course, when you're hearing somebody else's situation, it always sounds way more drastic. Like, it always sounds way worse than if you were actually going through it yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Knowing if you were going through it, you would probably just accept it anyway, be like, it is what it is. But it always sounds worse. So I think
To the other person, it sounds
Yeah.
bad to the
person.
other person.
especially somebody
Yeah.
that loves you, like
Mhm.
what?
Yeah,
Mhm.
that's something I had to, like, learn. Like, to me, I'm telling you this, and I'm breaking it down because I'm trying to also navigate my own thoughts. But now you've portrayed this image on this person that I don't want you to see.
Yeah.
Exactly.
But
What? Chill
that's
out,
but
love.
that's my fault, because I've came to you as
Said
my
it.
friend,
Yeah.
and now you hate this person.
Yeah, they think they just a bad guy because like I'm
But
like I'm
it's
trying to
not
vent
that.
to you.
And
Like,
then it's I think that's also something that me and my one of my best friends had to talk about with each other in the relationship, that she was in. She would come to me and talk to me about it, and I'm like, I don't want that for you, friend. I don't like that for you. You're telling me this and this. And then I grew to really dislike this person, but she had to tell me, I apologize, because now I've made you dislike this person, when it's not them, it's their actions.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, just don't tell me anything else.
Yeah.
I told her, I'm like, just don't tell me anything
Yeah.
else, because I don't want to look at that person that way. I
You
don't like
have
looking
to-
at people with an angry demeanor or being frustrated at them for how they act. I don't like to do that. But I
Yeah.
also know how I am with the people I love. I'm like, the people I love them so dearly. And if you hurt them, I don't want nothing to do with you.
Yeah. You have to establish those boundaries, though, because, like you said, don't tell me anything else. I can't handle that right now, because I know how I'm gonna look at them after. So let's just.
It was definitely very bad.
Yeah.
Girl, we couldn't even sit in the same room. You know what I mean? I was like,
Yeah.
you hear something? Can you hear me that? Dude, I don't like acting like that, but it's like, I know what you did to my friend. You hurt her feelings. And I don't like that, because she's crying to me, snotty and teary, and I don't like that. So
I have to deal with that.
Now that's, I'm like, don't tell me nothing else.
Yeah, I don't want to hear it.
So I do think privacy is such an important part of a relationship. Like, it's such a big part. And it's like, whenever I do talk to people, I've learned to just keep it to myself.
Mm-hmm.
Like, even when I'm talking to them, I tell them, like, don't go telling everybody that. Not because I don't like you, or I don't, I just don't want people in my business, because anything can happen.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't need nobody coming to me.
Hey, what if I take them back?
That's-
Then what? Now I'm looking like
Now I look
yeah,
crazy.
but if I just keep it to myself, nobody knows. So yeah,
I went through that I wanted to tell you, but it's a lot better.
But like I said, that's why in those ways you have to also be able to know, because sometimes you do need that out of influence. I would say with really, really big or drastic situation, like, let's say, cheating or anything like that, because those are situations that can easily be manipulated. One thing that I've been learning, just not even just in my relationship, but God has been checking me on, is going to him first, talking to him about it first and foremost, telling him exactly how I'm feeling, laying it all out there on the table. That way, all you need is somebody to talk to. Once you talk to them about it, you be like, okay, whew, like, now I feel relaxed. And then if you choose to go and tell somebody else after that, you'll be coming from a different perspective, or like a different, spirit. It won't just be filled with anger or rage, because now you're talking about this person, and then you go back and you take them back, and then boom, now you gotta look them in their face, and y'all are all together. Everybody just looking at each other.
That's not the space that we want to have.
Yeah, not at all. Not at all.
Really, really fast.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's, like, just something you have to learn as women as well, because we want to confide and we want to tell our friends and and tell them, hey, this is what we have going on. Da, 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 da. But it's not for them.
Yeah.
It's not for them to
It's
be
not.
included in that.
It's not always for them. I think one of the only times, not even I think, I know one of the only times that I went to go tell somebody something outside of our relationship, if it wasn't something that we've talked about, because if Bryce and I have already talked about it, I don't mind sharing the experience because we've grown from it. We've
I'm sorry. My mom. I don't know what she's talking about. She's talking about what year did cash may take over. What are you talking about?
Cash mate.
Cash money.
Oh, cash take over what? Let me see.
And I put question mark, and she asked me the same thing. I don't know what she
Cash. Who is Cash Money?
I don't know what she's talking about. Huh? But why is she asking me that? Randomly, like, yeah. Only got one question left, guys, and then we can get out of here.
Okay. Let me see, because my Bible study girls texted me at 2 locations.
I got a pee too. I'm not gonna lie.
I do too, but I was
trying to hold it.
I was trying to hold it to the end.
Yeah, I understand.
I was trying to hold it until the end.
Everybody have a little potty break right now. I really like this. I love this. I think this is going to be really good for people who are looking to get into relationships. And a question I have for you as well, as a woman getting into a relationship, what advice do you have from going from you don't want to be with anybody else at all, like you want to be with no one, to changing that mindset and getting into a relationship? What advice do you have for a young lady?
I think no one, first things first, no one in a relationship can tell you if you are moving too fast.
Welcome back.
If you are moving too slow in a relationship. Because ultimately it is your relationship. The decisions y'all make together are y'all's decisions. Shouldn't be influenced by anyone else. But like we were talking about in the question earlier, do not lose yourself over a man. Especially a man who actually does not care about you, doesn't care for you. You don't see his love in anything that happens, anything that y'all do. If he's disrespecting you, if he's crossing your boundaries, if you've already told him not to cross those boundaries, I have a lot of pieces of advice, because it's like, that is one of the reasons, like I said earlier, like my mom at a very young age was putting me on game. Like my mom, my dad, my brother, they were all like telling me this is how these boys are. So naturally I just knew. I still have to go through it, to accept it and believe it, but I did always know. Like I knew exactly what these
You knew what you were
what they were on. Yeah, I knew what they were on.
Okay.
And I think that message gets lost a lot of times. People don't have that opportunity, like, to know, what these guys are really on. And even when they do, they still have to go and figure it out for themselves. Because I mean, you can tell somebody all day, but they're gonna want to go figure it out for themselves still. So, yeah, just be you in a relationship. Don't let people change what you have already set out for yourself. Don't let people change who you are. Yeah.
Okay. So my last question for y'all is, where do y'all see yourselves in the next 5 years?
How old am I gonna be? 24?
25. I picture us in the house, because I put in Jesus' name, graduating next year. Either next year or the year after next, making 6 figures. I know I am. I know for a fact I am, in Jesus' name. Well, if it's God's will. But for real. So definitely in the house. Married, definitely. Yeah. And just like doing ministry, I definitely say, out there. Like really, really heavily in a, like, not even just, I was going to say Christ, like Christian community, not even Christian community, like in this world, just spreading his word.
Could you see yourself being a pastor?
Shut up.
I was thinking that earlier, way before the podcast even started.
God.
That's something we'll talk about.
Oh, yeah, we're going to talk about this off
camera.
camera.
It literally came to my head, like when I was getting ready. I was like, I said, I said, I'm getting ready for my pastor and my first lady right now. I said, I'm getting dressed. That's what I was thinking in my head. And I was like, are they going to be pastor and first lady? Like, I'm going to have a church now?
So, yeah, I agree with Bryce. Married, depending on where I'm at in my career path, may or may not have a house yet. May just be in a luxury apartment. Um, just really establishing our life together as a married couple.
Okay.
Trying to figure out our life before kids. I mean, may or may not have kids because I was reading a post earlier today, and it's like, man, when the day comes that it won't be a sin anymore to. Right. So, boom. I may or may not have kids.
Only time will tell.
Definitely will be thinking about it. But I'm really just excited for what God has in store. Excited for the next step because we will be out of college by that time. So, excited for whatever the rest of my life or those 5 years will look like. I'm excited for that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Adding one more thing in that I genuinely will say is like growing with Jakarta, because I've been thinking about this so much lately, like even like months I'll say, but it's really been hitting lately. Like when we think of relationships and old people, like those old marriages, when people been together for a long time, we just think of bickering. They sitting there like, oh yeah, I love you, like I love you so much. Since we've been together so long, I'm not gonna leave you. Nah, I want it to where like we've been together so long that like we know each other, like we know how to make each other happy, and we're like continuously happy together. I don't want that bickering old love like where people be like joke arguing and getting annoyed with each other. Nah, I want that like genuine love.
I'm trying to be sitting on a porch swing,
Yeah.
swinging back and forth hand in hand. That's what I'm trying to do.
We just
Okay.
chilling. We just
Cause
kicking it.
I told you I want to have my little farmhouse, and that includes the little patio, little porch. It's gonna be me rocking back and forth.
I can't wait. I'm gonna be bringing potato salad.
And I'm still have my nice little wine ready
Yeah.
for me. Sitting there drinking my
Yeah.
wine, having a great time. Okay. Well, do y'all have any questions before y'all head out?
I was not prepared for other questions. I'm gonna think one on the spot. What do you see yourself in the next 5 years?
Very successful.
Man.
By any means. In the next 5 years, I just know I want to be very successful and happy. That's it.
Girl.
As
I'm not
someone,
gonna-
no,
I'm
no,
not-
go ahead.
I'm not gonna say where I'm gonna be and what I'm gonna be doing because I don't know. Only time will tell. But I do know I'll be
It's gonna be
successful in
good.
whatever I'm doing. I'll be financially stable and I'll be happy.
Amen.
That's
Amen. Let it be done. Let it be done. I was also gonna ask, as someone who is currently single, what advice do you have for people getting into
She
relationships?
stole my question.
Oh.
okay. What is it?
As someone who is currently single, what advice do you have for young women getting into relationships?
Know what you want and hold yourself to a high standard. Understand your worth. Don't settle for anything less that you know that you're worth. Not saying you have to be super picky with everything, but also know what you're okay with. Don't just settle for the bare minimum because that's what's in front of your face. You don't deserve the bare minimum. So there's that. And just enjoy your singleness season because whenever you're not single, then you're not gonna be single.
Yeah, that was another thing. Oh,
Nothing's wrong with being in a relationship, but also just it's different.
It is.
Not being in a relationship and being in a relationship. Just being from a relationship in a long time and now like being by myself. Do I miss being in a relationship? Yes, but also I enjoy things that I can do. Being single, you know what I mean?
It is a different lifestyle. A relationship is work. It's not a job. I don't feel like it's a chore. It's not a job, but you do have to work.
It's a lot of it's effort.
Yeah.
You know, you do have responsibilities. You can't do everything that you want to do just out here free nilly-willy. Like, you know, you have another person to care for if you love them and you value them. You have another person to care for, not just yourself. You can't just be selfish all the time.
Yeah.
And right now I'm enjoying being selfish. That's my favorite thing.
Yeah, like moving on your own accord, really. Yeah.
I do.
Yeah, not complaining at all. Like I'm so happy. But when I was single, I would literally, it's gonna sound nerdy, but I would sit in my room probably like 5 hours a day just doing work. Phone on the other side of the bed. I'm just sitting in my room doing work all day freshman year. When I mean like act like bro, when I mean like I sit and I enjoy doing work. Like I had my beginning coding class, some other class where I sat there and I was like reading articles, writing freaking essays. I'm just sitting there, nothing having to do, not a care in the world about
Oh, I'm not doing work.
my
I'm
phone.
not doing work. But I do like to just, I don't know, lay in my bed.
Yeah.
And just lay in my bed how I want to lay in
Yeah.
my bed like a starfish. Or, you know, not have to, like, I'm not saying you had to answer to somebody before, but, you know, you do have to, I don't know, just being in silence.
Mm-hmm.
You know, not having to entertain another person at the time, being able to sit with my own thoughts and not having anybody question my thoughts and what's going on, being able to talk to God and work through those things, you know. Also, me being able to figure out what I do want in my next partner, because my last relationship was great. I'm not saying it was horrible, but there were things where there was just something we couldn't agree on. So understanding what I can take that I valued from that relationship into my next one that I want to have, that's gonna make it stick and stay.
Yeah.
You know,
That's big.
that's it.
That's big. I love that.
For real.
Well,
All right. Well, we're leaving here. I hope y'all had a good time enjoying and watching and listening. And we'll see you next time.
thank you for
Thank
having
you.
us.
Of course.